Having watched the webinar for early years providers, Improving the Way Ofsted Inspects Education, I can report that there are significant changes being proposed to how early years inspections are carried out. These updates could have a major impact on nurseries, childminders, preschools, and out-of-school care providers. The goal behind these changes is to make inspections more transparent, collaborative, and supportive, moving away from the high-pressure nature they've been criticised for. This means a completely new grading system, a different approach to inspections, and a stronger focus on inclusion. So let's go through exactly what's changing, why it's happening, and what it could mean for early years providers moving forward. Ofsted inspections have been a source of frustration for many early years professionals for quite some time. Concerns about how inspections are carried out, the impact on staff well-being, and the lack of consistency between inspectors have been raised repeatedly. One major turning point was the tragic case of Ruth Perry, a head teacher whose death sparked a serious debate about the stress and pressure inspections can create. In response, Ofsted launched the Big Listen, the largest consultation in its history. Over 22,000 responses were received, including feedback from 4,500 children, providing a clearer picture of what needs to change. As a result, Ofsted is now proposing a complete overhaul of how inspections work, with a key focus on reducing the high-stakes pressure of inspections, making the process feel more collaborative and transparent, ensuring that inspections fairly reflect the quality of education and care provided. This means replacing the current grading system, changing how inspections are structured, and placing a greater emphasis on inclusion and SEND provision. One of the most significant changes is the removal of the current 4-tier grading system. Right now, settings receive a single-word judgment. Outstanding. Good. Requires improvement. Inadequate. This system has often been criticised for being too blunt, lacking nuance, and failing to reflect the full picture of a setting's quality. Instead, Ofsted is introducing a 5-point scale for different areas of inspection. Exemplary, exceptional practice that stands out. Strong, high-quality provision with some areas of excellence. Secure, meeting expectations with a solid standard of care and education. Attention needed, areas requiring development but not significantly weak. Causing concern, serious issues that need urgent improvement. On top of this, safeguarding will be assessed separately as either met or not met, ensuring that concerns about safety don't get lost within broader judgments about educational quality. This new grading system aims to provide a clearer and more detailed breakdown of strengths and areas for improvement, rather than relying on a single headline judgment. Beyond the grading system, the inspection process itself is also set to change. A more collaborative approach. Inspections will involve more professional discussions with leaders rather than just inspectors, making judgments based on quick observations. The focus will be on understanding each setting's context and how leaders are driving improvements. Leaders will be actively involved in the process, giving them the opportunity to explain their decision-making and priorities. A 2-part notification call. The first call will happen earlier in the morning to notify the provider about the inspection. The second, later in the day, will be a detailed conversation about the setting's curriculum, strengths, challenges, and areas of focus. This means settings will have a clearer understanding of what the inspection will focus on, reducing the element of surprise. A stronger focus on inclusion and SEND. Ofsted is introducing a dedicated evaluation area for inclusion, assessing how well settings support children with additional needs. Inspectors will be looking at how barriers to learning are identified and addressed, ensuring that all children, regardless of background or ability, have access to high-quality early education. There will be an emphasis on how settings work with parents, external specialists, and other agencies to meet the needs of SEND and disadvantaged children. A tailored approach to different provider types. Nurseries, preschools, childminders, and out-of-school settings all operate differently, and inspections will be adapted to reflect these differences. This means childminders, for example, won't be expected to operate like larger nursery settings, making inspections more relevant to each type of provider. A common concern among early years providers is whether these changes will increase their workload. While there are now 8 evaluation areas instead of 4, Ofsted has stressed that they are not adding extra requirements, just breaking things down into smaller, clearer categories. The aim is to provide more useful, structured feedback, making it easier for providers to understand where they are performing well and where they need to improve. There are also some changes to how much notice settings will receive before an inspection. For nurseries and larger settings, the first notification call will happen earlier in the morning, with a second call later in the day to discuss focus areas. For childminders, Ofsted is considering giving notice of the exact inspection day rather than the current system, which provides a vague window of time when an inspection might happen. This would give more certainty while still ensuring inspections remain unannounced. A key issue raised by early years providers is the lack of consistency between inspectors. To improve this, Ofsted is providing enhanced training for inspectors and making training materials publicly available, standardizing inspection criteria across different settings, focusing on professional discussions, ensuring that inspectors take each setting's unique context into account. These proposals are still in the consultation phase, meaning they are not yet finalized. February-April 2025 consultation period. Spring-summer 2025 testing phase with pilot inspections. Autumn 2025 full rollout of the new inspection system for early years providers. January 2026. The changes will also apply to initial teacher education providers. These updates represent a major shift in how early year settings are inspected, aiming to create a more balanced and transparent process while still holding providers to high standards. That's a breakdown of the key changes coming to early years inspections. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.